What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Burndown YouTube channel. So we are winding down on the Kicker audio install. As you can see behind me, a lot less boxes, and that is because all the speakers, component speakers, subwoofer, everything is in place in the Twinnebago. Now we just need to power it. So I want to unbox both of these before we get into the install portion of it and show you what I like about these things. They have a thing called a Burndown sheet, and each one of these amps in this box is going to have a sheet, and it's going to tell you exactly what kind of power the amplifier you bought makes. So here's a look at what we have left to install. We've got the CXA 360.4. This is a 4-channel AB class amplifier, and then we've got the CXA 800.1. This is a monoblock, which means a single channel D class subwoofer amplifier, and then this bass knob will go with this guy so we can turn the boom down if need be. And then these are amplifier wiring kits. I was corrected, we've got a 4 gauge and an 8 gauge. I said op for some reason, but this is 4 gauge, 8 gauge. The lower the number, the larger the wire, so this will be for the bass amp and this will be for the component amp here. And then we've got a bunch of speaker wire so we can run quality speaker wire out to all the component speakers in the Twinnebago. So one of the cool features that are on here with these amps is you can pump a bunch of power into it. So if you had a regular car system and you didn't have a line out on your stereo, you could just go straight in with the high input. You can get I believe it's a converter to go to like RCA, and you can put a ton of power into these and it won't hurt anything or distort the signal as long as the signal coming in isn't distorted. So that is really cool for a normal application. If you're like, oh, I've got factory stereo stuff, I can't put an amp in. Well, these will facilitate that. And then the other thing, let's open this up, and I want to look at the Burndown. So let's go with the bigger boy first. Let's go with this 800 watt CXA 801. And there it is, right on top. So my amplifier, look at that, dude. 948 watts. That is very impressive from this little tiny package in here. We'll pull it out. I'm gonna put 2 hands on it so we don't flop or drop anything. But your max rating is gonna be, I would imagine, it's probably down at a 1 ohm load. So we are not gonna run it. We are not gonna get 948. But if I could, you know, get some subs in here in the future, if I wired enough of them together, we can get it down to 1 ohm. And we could have some friggin', you know, that's almost 1,000 watts, man. That's no joke. So let me pull this guy out of here. And just think about that too. We're getting this thing right here. This, look at that thing. Almost 1,000 watts. How insane is that? Technology's come a long way, man. 1,000 watt amp back in the day, you were looking at a monster, like even way bigger than what this thing is going to be. This is larger than this, obviously. And the reason for that is this is a D class. D class is more compact, it's newer technology, and it's going to pump out the power. So this one is an AB, but again, this is for your mids and highs. This is going to put out a clearer signal for those speakers. As for this, just needs to beat the crap out of that 12 that we got in there. So let me unpackage this. We'll show you guys around it a little bit, the inputs and all that fun stuff. But this is rad, so you know what it puts out. Obviously, this is at their rated power. It's like 14.4 volts or something like that. 14.2, I don't know what they rated out when they do it, but this is all done on the dyno. And then that's cool, man. This is for this amp. That one's gonna have one in there too, so I'll be interested to see what this puts out. And on the box, you know, it says 800 watts. This max number, it is what it is. That's probably a burst power rating, but that's like, eh. So this is kind of what you want to look at. And obviously, they're not lying to you, right? The stuff that is taped on is stuck, right? So you get these little feet, and then you can mount this amp vertical, whoop, like that, right? Versus having to lay it down or put it somewhere. Granted, I have a space, so it has feet on it now. We're just going to stick it, you know, like this, basically behind the driver's seat. But if not, we could put it on the floor and stand it up like that and mount it down. So that's pretty killer. Wonder what that does for heat dissipation too. It seems like if you had it vertical, it seems like it would dissipate heat a little bit better, but I don't know. And then you got your instructions, your Allen key, and some screws to lock it down. And then here is all your specifications on the amp, ratings and all that fun stuff. 4 ohm, 2 ohm, 1 ohm stable. This thing is a beast. Packaged very well. That's the thing about buying a nice name brand, is you get nice stuff. So you spend the money and you're not guessing whether or not, you know, oh, did I spend it and is it really making the power? Is it really what it says? Well, this thing sure is. So on the one end, you got your protect, remote bass knob, bass boost, crossover, gain, level input, and then here's your input and then an output. So this is pretty cool because then we can run, you know, say it's the high signal, say you didn't have a bass amp output, you could run from that amp into this one or vice versa, this one into like another bass amp. If I had 2 of these, I'd go just a single signal in, come out of this one into another amp, and we could push multiple amps. You know, if you wanted to go 1 per speaker, or you wanted to get crazy with the Cheese Whiz. And then again, you got your ground remote, 12 volt, and then your speaker outputs. And then you're probably wondering, you know, hey Dane, why does this have 4 speaker outputs? I thought it was a mono. Well, it is. This is positive and this is negative, but you could still run 2 speakers to it. So this is actually pretty cool. So technically it is a mono. You got room for 2. Not that that's really that necessary, but it's a nice touch that Kicker did for you. So there's that one. Let me set this off to the side. We'll open this other one and let's see what the board on sheet says in there. CXA 360.4. This is my 4-channel that is going to push the highs and mids. It's 360 watts RMS by 4 channels is what this is rated at. Right on top, there it is, 459. Ooh, so that's not bad. That is not bad for what we're doing for a 4-channel. And again, this is mids and highs. This is only pushing, you know, the smaller speakers. So here it is again. Let's jump it out of there. Similar packaging setup. So you got the blocks, you got the amp, instructions and screws. Let me get this guy open. The hardware again is attached here, so don't throw that away. These are little mounting feet. This one can be mounted vertical as well. So there's little mounting feet. And again, screws, instructions. And here we go. Here it is, the CXA. So size of my hand. So not terribly big, right? Granted, this is, you know, a reasonably priced, reasonably powered amplifier. So now you get, so 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 2 speaker terminals per channel. This is bridgeable. Inputs, remote, and you can see that it's not quite as heavy duty as like on the bass amp, right? And then on the other side, we've got 2 different inputs, right, for all 4 of your channels. And then we have all of your crossover functions for each section, which is cool. Bass boost, all that for each section. And then you could even throw the bass knob on here if you wanted to run, say, the front channel for mids and highs, and then bridge the second channel for a bass amp, and then they got you covered with the crossover there as well. So this one we're going to be running the high level on this, on all the channels, and then obviously the bass with the bass amp. So that is a look at these guys. Let me go get them mounted up. I'll show you what they look like mounted. I believe we're going to mount them behind the driver's seat. I'll look around, poke around, make sure that's the best area. But I think it's kind of open enough. It'll get some circulation, I would imagine, or at least be able to dissipate some heat. So I'm not tucked away anywhere, you know, so they're out in the open. I can see it. And that is a close run for the power cable. So I want to keep the power cable nice and tight and short. And then that way we can keep the power going to the amp and then not getting wasted trying to run through cable. So let me get these mounted up. We'll give you guys a look at them. Ta-da! All right, there they are. So driver's seat, You know, you can't even really see them unless you peek back here. I gave them some good distance from the bottom, so that way all the wires can run down, you know, and then over, because the battery is actually down underneath the coach over here. They'll have to go through the floor and out. And then all the speaker wires and stuff are going to be, you know, run on that side, and then we'll go up. There's actually a CB cable, right, that goes up into the cabinet. So that's how we'll get the speakers into there. Then we take it across the floor on the bottom to these guys. And then I've got to chase the ones from the back and find out if I can ring those out over here to see where those ones end up. And then obviously the dash ones, boom, boom, sub, Bob's your uncle. But yeah, they look good. They're little, man, for what they're gonna do. And then all my gains and controls are facing up, so that way I have access to them, because it's kind of a set it and forget it, but I want to have it there just in case it goes into protect or whatever. I can see it versus speaker wire. I thought this was a better bet. I was thinking sideways too, but I think this is going to facilitate a better bet. We can always turn it if need be, but I wanted to be able to access this, and then I want to be able to see where it said kicker. So I'd have to run it upside down, which I thought would be goofy, because I don't want my gains and all the controls facing that way. So yeah, there it is. Now we just have to, like I said, ring that wire out and then start running some power and speaker wire. All right, before I get too far ahead, I'll show you that we're moving along. I've got a big cluster. There's a big hole there, and we're bringing the main power lead through there, and it goes direct to the battery. And then the trick with these things is this is made of wood, right? So initially I was like, I could just ground off the bottom of that and then run the grounds over to the amps here. But then I realized the battery box is below the floor here, so I punched a hole, and then there's a spot where it grounds to the chassis, a real good ground right there. So we'll come up with the grounds there, through the wood, and then into the amplifiers. So these are all pre-terminated and stuff. I'll open the other one and show you guys. I just got a little bit ahead of myself with this. We'll show you how they look in the package before I pull the other one apart. So I forgot to video that, but here's the ground, and again the other side's all pre-terminated. It's really nice stuff. But I do have to cut an inline fuse with this, so I'm not going to cut or terminate any of this stuff until we get the other side situated, and then we will run this over and get this cut to size. So you want to make sure you get all the stuff at the battery end figured out. You pull the fuse out, that way this thing's not live when it's flopping around, but that way you can get your length all set before you cut this, and then you realize you got to put a fuse in and then it's too short and you screw yourself. So just be mindful, take your time. And you got to have good grounds too. So here is the 8 gauge. Essentially it's packaged the same, it's just a little bit smaller wire, a little bit less power. So the other thing I thought was cool, it has these nice plastic things. This is obviously probably to hang up the weight so they don't rip, I would imagine. But I saved these, and it looks like I could probably pop these little kicker logos out, see? And I think they probably did that on purpose, so I can pop these little guys out and have little kicker badges. So if I find somewhere where I'd like to stuff little chrome kicker badges, I'm going to keep those. I think it'd be a fun little touch. So let's break into this. I'll show you what you get when you buy their amplifier wiring kit. So opens up, you get little butterflies. These come out, and the whole enchilada slides out. So here we go. This is the wiring package. So you get your main power cable. Let me undo these little ties. Let's see if we can just do it one-handed real quick. Keep it rolling, so I don't have to do all these jump cuts and fun editing. Bear with me. Look at this. Look at this. We're killing the game. One-handed. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the kind of quality you get over here on the Burndown YouTube. So this is what I wanted to show you. So it is heat shrunk, pre-terminated, right? This is going to be your battery side. Little kicker. That's a nice little touch on the heat shrink. Looks like marine grade. Then they got the sheathing or the protectant, because this is going to be where your battery is. So they're protecting the wire for you for the first X amount of feet. Let's say maybe 3 feet, 3 foot, roughly, meter. But then they did this for you, right there. Bada boom, bada bing. Fuse holder. So you see what they did there? It's going to give you about a foot. So this is it's rated for the fuse that's in here for like this wire. I want to say it's about 1 foot. So if you split this, boop, right here, that's going to give you your distance that you need off the battery. Then you can go with your fuse block, which is provided in the kit. It's tied down, so there's your fuse holder. So when you cut it, move this stuff back, and then you strip it back, you'll be able to bolt this right in line, and you're going to have the proper amount of wire to your battery. You want a nice short lead, just in case, because this side, you remember that when you fuse something, if the fuse pops, this is still live because this is touching your battery. So you want a short run. Obviously, you can't have it too short because you need to be able to mount this or put this somewhere, but I believe that's why they did that, and they got you all taken care of here so this stuff doesn't fray back and look ugly. So they already thought it through for you. I'm sure you could go a little bit longer, a little bit whatever you need to do, but obviously that's recommended. So that's cool. And then yeah, they wrap it around here, and then obviously it's unprotected. This would be like running through the vehicle carpet or wherever you're going to put it. And then this is their 8-gauge power lead. So also in the box, you get your pre-terminated ground. So that's very nice. Same kicker, same gauge, so everything matches. This is your remote wire to turn the amp on and off, so signal. And then they give you some beefy speaker wire to go with it. So this is a 12-gauge. So I'm going to use this for the sub. I have another one of these as well. And then, I mean, I guess you can run all your speakers with it. Just depends on the kind of room you have and the kind of power you're trying to put to them. So very nice speaker wire here. Then they give you little connectors and zip ties and little fun things that maybe look like to make the ground, mount the ground, or however they're having you do that. And then these right here, you get one set of RCAs, right? There you go. Some really nice kicker RCAs. Really feel like silicone, very flexible. Yeah, these are they feel really nice. So these are pretty cool. So there you go. That's all the wire you need. And then we'll take this guy off. Okay. So get your little kicker fuse holder. All right, you get on Struggle Street. There you go. So it comes off your little kicker guy. And go away. So it is like a mini blade fuse, right? There's your terminals. Throw one lead in there, the other side in there, and then this is your fuse that protects it. So this one is a 60 amp. The other one I have is a 100. So that is it. So what you want to do is take this out, and then you can run your leads. You can run it to the battery, run it to this, run the other lead without it being live, and then when you're ready to rock and roll, you just pop this bad boy in, throw a little kicker logo over there. This thing's protected, ready to roll. It's getting late. It's pretty much the end of the day, end of the road, at least for today. We got a lot done though, so we got a ton of wires going on down there. So all the RCAs, power, ground, the 2 front speakers, subwoofer, and then I got these guys actually hooked up. So both of these are hooked up. So what we're doing is all 4 of these are front channel. And then we should, if we hooked it up correctly, that speaker and that speaker should be on that side. And then this speaker and that speaker should be this channel. So let's turn it on and just see if this stuff powers up. We'll turn all the gains and stuff down just to see if it turns on. We can't really blare anything today. I need to settle my gains and everything. I just want to see, make sure it's getting power, make sure it functions. And then what we're going to do is this will be the rear left or right channel, and then the ones in the very back will be the other channel, because those have to be on one channel, 2 speakers on one and then 2 speakers on the other, because the wiring coming from the back, it just goes to the one speaker and jumps across. So they're 4-ohm speakers. You put 2 on one deal, it's called parallel, it'll make it a 2-ohm load. So because of wiring like that, I don't want to fish wiring through this coach because I have no idea. We'll look for that. I found it today and I rang it out, so that will be the next project, and then we will set it all up. But let's turn this thing on. Let me grab keys. Let's see if these boys fire up. All right, I've got some YouTube friendly music. I have a bunch of tracks on here that are not, but I picked one that is, so we don't get a copyright strike. And you're gonna have to take my word for it, because audio sound on a GoPro microphone, even if it's a good microphone, it's like smell-o-vision, right? But I'll just prove to you guys that stuff works. We'll show you kind of around. We'll get this thing playing a little bit. So here we go. I don't have it turned up very loud. I don't want to blow, because the microphones always sound like crap when it's like the buzzing. And then I need to set all my gains and everything, so we're not trying to beat anything down right now. I just want to make sure everything's playing, maybe do some left and right channels, make sure everything functions properly. Then we'll hook up the rear channel. So far so good. And I will tell you that I cranked it a little bit, especially on the 4-channel amplifier. I pushed the gain up a little bit, like we have it barely up. And I was turning it and I moved it a little bit, and I think with 8 speakers in here, this thing's gonna be loud, because I mean, just that, with giving it a little bit of juice. Yeah, so this sub, we're gonna have to make sure that thing is at full mast, because it's gonna have to keep up with all the vocals. But we'll even everything out so it sounds good. I don't want it to get drowned out by highs or drowned out by bass. I'd like a loud, clean sound, and I think that's exactly what we're gonna get. So we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, 4 more speakers to hook up, and then a ton of cleaning, because I mean, this place is just a wreck. You guys know what to do. I hope you're enjoying this. We're gonna get this thing sorted, and it's gonna be phenomenal. Like, subscribe, share. Until next time, I'm out.